The RV Show USA. Start living the RV dream today.
All right, everybody, I'm Alan Warren, and a couple of weeks ago we did an expose on Camping World where you heard about, well, some of, I believe, the dishonest, possibly illegal, and certainly unethical things that Camping World uses, or techniques that they use on people, especially first-time RV buyers. And with more than 150,000 viewers in a short amount of time, we are rattling the bushes, as they say. You know, many people posted that they were either ex-employees or they knew somebody that was an employee, or they knew an ex-employee of Camping World. And you know what? I got this idea. I said, what if we got them on and had them tell a story? You know, they could post about their, they could tell us about their experiences with Camping World. How cool would that be? We'll even keep them anonymous, not even put their names out there. And so I personally contacted lots and lots of these people, told them the idea, and you know what I heard? This is what they told me, every one of them. Yeah, that's what I heard. Not a single person, not one of them agreed to join us here on the show. Not anybody. I'm going, why? Why will they post on YouTube, on our Facebook, that they lost sleep at night working over there? But they won't jump on the telephone to tell us about their experience. We even told them, you know, you can give us a different name if you want to. We can modify your voice like they do on TV. You know, put a different voice on them. Not one person said yes. I got to tell you, that one still baffles me. Maybe it's one of those things where people are afraid, but I don't know what they could be afraid of. All right, I'll tell you something. Not everybody's afraid when they have a problem with their new RV. Not those who've got RV Lawyer Rick Dalton on their side, that's for sure. When he's working for them, it's a whole different story, isn't it, Rick?
Yes, sir. How you doing?
I'm doing all right. Well, let me tell you something. Since our last visit on the show about a month ago, people have been coming out of the woodwork with issues that they're having about their new RVs. Business must be pretty good for you, Mr. Dalton.
It is, but I don't know if that's a good thing in the industry, though. I mean, it's not. I mean, that means people are having problems. And so, I mean, you know, that's it's a catch-22. You know, so that's good for me, but it's not good for the industry or the customer at all, or the client. You know, that they're having that much problems with these units. So, it's gone up in the last year or two, and I think it's because of what we talked about the last time, the different warranties, and they've shortened the periods and so forth. But I think we're going to talk a little bit later in this session. One of the Jayco, which is they've extended their warranty, which is a good thing. But we'll talk about that in a minute, I'm sure.
So let's start out with what are some of the biggest misconceptions that the new RV buyer has? You know, we go into that dealership, wherever it is. What are some of the things that we think one way, but reality is it ain't that way?
Yeah, the number one is that when you buy a new RV, you think it's going to be perfect. You expect it to be perfect, and so you don't expect there's going to be anything wrong with it. And that's not how it is. You know, this is a house on wheels, in the simplest terms. And so it's going to rattle as it goes down the road, as you get to your site and set up. It's constantly being used. The slide outs are constantly going in and out. So there's a lot of wear and tear going on. And because of that, you know, things happen a lot quicker in it, but sometimes the major defects, such as water leaks and things like that, don't reveal themselves soon enough within the short warranty periods that most of these RV manufacturers provide for their units. And that creates very big headaches for me and very big headaches for the customer on the legal side of that because of the time limits on the warranties.
Let's talk about the PDIs. What is a PDI? Who does them? Where are they done? Because to me, I think that the PDI is one of the places where quality could really actually improve. But let's talk about that for a second.
Okay. PDI stands for pre-delivery inspection. And so there's different stages of inspections when RVs are delivered to a dealer. There should be some sort of inspection when the RV is taken off right off the delivery truck or when it's been delivered to the dealer. So this is done by the dealer, and usually what they're looking for at that point is transport damage, just to see if it has been damaged in transport, something open and obvious. Some dealers may do more extensive inspections. I don't think so. I don't think that's the norm. I think it's basically, let's look around, because they got to get this transport driver off and sign off on the camper. So they do a walk around, they take a look at it just to make sure. And here's where the problem happens. If that RV sits on that lot for an extended period of time, not sold, things are going to happen to it just naturally, weather, just sitting out there in the sun, rain, and so forth. So if the dealer is not doing what they're supposed to be doing, which is doing annual inspections on it, and this is what the manufacturer requires the owner to do. They require the owner to go out there every 6 months and check the seals and check this and that to make sure things are okay. But a lot of times the dealers don't do that. And so the unit sits there. And this is a lot of my cases. The unit will sit there for a year, and, it gets discounted because the dealer wants to move it. The customer comes in and buys it. And then that is the first time that a PDI is actually performed on the unit. And there's, for the first time, a full inspection is on it. And a lot of times, though, and I have several cases like this right now, that's not even done. So they just turn around and just sell it to the customer without even doing an inspection on it. And as soon as the client gets home, the first time they use it, they've got water leaks. It's, and not I'm talking about major water leaks. And so when they bring it back, they get the response that, oh, it's a maintenance issue, and, you should have checked the seals, you should have done this. And it's confusing for the customers, like, well, okay, even if it's like 3 months later, because they're like, well, we did check the seals. Didn't you check the seals? Weren't you supposed to check the seals before I bought it? And so you have all these unanswered questions going on. And what really it comes back to is that RV unit, the reason it's having problems is it sat on the dealer's lot, and the dealer did not do what they were supposed to do, which is maintain that unit while it's in their possession.
Wow. So what advice do you have for somebody that's buying a brand new RV? It would sound like to me that we as buyers, we're too trusting sometimes. We assume it's going to be like a car. You go down to buy a new Ford pickup truck and it's going to run. The air conditioner is going to work right. We make the wrong assumption going in. Sounds like we should slow down and maybe ask them to do a complete PDI with us there, making sure the air conditioner works, the plumbing works correctly. But I don't know how many dealers would do that.
Right. It's all timing, and that takes time. And so the way it's supposed to be done in a normal unit is when the unit comes in, they do the initial inspection for the travel damage. That checks off, say there's no travel damage. The unit stays on the lot a week, 2 weeks, it's sold. They do a thorough PDI at that time. And there's actually forms to fill out and so forth, and it's ready to go. And then some dealers even do what's called a bust off. So the day that the client picks up the unit, and this is when it's washed and waxed, they walk through the unit and they have a checklist. So they go through everything with the customer to make sure it. So it's basically been inspected 3 times, and so that's really what you want. And a lot of dealers have these forms, and you want to ask for these forms. So you want to ask for the transport inspection report. You want to ask for the PDI, and then you want to ask for the bust off report, just to make sure. And then also common sense comes into play. You need to be looking for these things. I mean, the number one question you need to ask when you buy something like this is, when did the dealer get this unit? How long has this RV been sitting on your lot? And the longer it has sat on the dealer's lot, the more you need to investigate before you purchase that RV.
So don't be tricked into thinking that a deep discount is going to mean a good deal, because it could mean just the opposite.
Oh, very much, very much. I mean, buyers beware. If it sounds too good to be true, a lot of times it is. And that's those old adages hold up true.
I've heard also that many times these 1 or 2 year old non-titled, never been titled, so they're not new, but they've never been titled. Many of these RVs have been picked apart for parts, and
that definitely, yeah. That's and again, you have to do your homework. And buy from a reputable dealer, go online and check for reviews and things like that. But yes, I have clients, and I have clients right now that have told me that while their unit that they bought and they own is, in repairs at a particular dealer, they're missing parts. They're missing a TV. Where did that stuff go? And so is the dealer going in and taking those parts and giving it to somebody else? I would hope not. I mean, is it theft from somebody on it? that's more likely what it is. But
hey, Rick, hang on. We're up against a hard break, folks. We got Rick Dalton, RV lawyer extraordinaire, on with us on the RV Show USA. We'll pick it up on the other side. Hang on.
The RV Show USA. Start living the RV dream today.
You know, one of the best brands of RVs, in my opinion, in terms of, wow, y'all have a whatever? It's a Jayco. For years, they put out, I think, some of the best built RVs in the industry. But since the Amish family, the Bontraegers who built them, sold out to Thor Industries, the Jayco brand, let me tell you something, it is definitely not what it used to be. To tell us about their experience with their brand new Jayco is a couple from New England, Alicia and Ken. Y'all there?
Yeah, we're here.
Okay, good deal. And to try and help out a little bit, on the other line is one of the country's top RV lawyers, Mr. Rick Dalton. Rick, can you hear everybody?
I can. How you doing, Ken? Good. Yourself?
All right. So Ken and Alicia, give us the 30,000-foot version, the Reader's Digest version about what happened to y'all, if you would, please.
If we stay at the 30,000-foot view, I think we custom ordered a Jayco Eagle HT fifth wheel this spring. We took it out, and I would say we sort of had our normal type of problems, things that you would typically go through and be willing to accept if that's the reality of the situation. But I think where things went terribly wrong was we were taking the unit out to get service work done, and it appeared something in the frame and structure had given way while we were driving. And by the time we got to the dealership, there was walls that were actually separating. And as I unloaded it from the truck, you could actually see that the walls had opened up and closed up as we were putting weight and taking weight off of the front end of the vehicle. That's probably like I said, we're going to go 30,000-foot view. That's the highest level summary I can give you.
And this is a brand new RV. This is a brand new Jayco, right?
Yeah, this was ordered to our specifications back in January with all the options that we were looking for, and we did wait for it to get custom ordered. What
do you think, Rick? I mean, what does it sound like to you?
Right. Ken and them have sent me their information, and so they've got like a punch list of about 28 items from the list they sent me that's wrong with the unit. On that, it's been in the shop. I think, Ken, what you said now for 14 days. What's the time now?
As of today, it was again going in for a date drop off just to get the minor things taken care of, and as of today, it's been 21 days.
Right. So, and how long did you wait for an appointment?
We actually opened up a warranty claim for a microwave, which is a relatively simple thing in my mind, and that was back in April 20th or thereabouts. And it took that long to get the microwave to the dealership where we could actually get it installed. And then while I was getting it installed on July 26th, that's where we were taking care of some of the, I guess would say, normal things that people are accepting. But then from there, it was where this frame issue had come up. And obviously, when a frame lets go, you have a lot of other things that start occurring.
Okay, so the frame issue is going to be the main thing, obviously, and the question becomes, and I don't know at this point where Jayco received their frame. Most of the frames, and I'm not saying it's a Lippert frame, but most of the frames in the RV industry that I've dealt with come from Lippert components out of Indiana on it. So what ends up happening in these types of cases is a lot of finger pointing, and so once the issue is reported to the dealer reports the issue to Jayco. It's a severe issue. It's something to be very concerned about. Then when Jayco starts doing their investigation, if it turns out to be a component manufacturer, which the frame would be responsibility, then they've got to bring that person into this equation, and someone else from Lippert needs to start talking to Jayco and to the dealer to give advice as to what went wrong and who's responsible. Was it something Jayco did that caused the frame to break, or was it the frame itself? So these are the unanswered questions that's going on right now, I'm sure, between the three parties. That would be the dealer, Jayco, and Lippert. If Lippert is the manufacturer, if it's another manufacturer, then the frame manufacturer, then it's that person that they're talking to. So what ends up happening is, I just had a case just in Indiana just last week. That's where I was, finger pointing between, Ford and the other manufacturer about who's responsible for something very similar to this. So, right now we don't have an answer from either of the parties telling you who's responsible and what the game plan is. And so that's the frustrating part in this process. On it. But again, is the unit usable at this time or not usable? I mean, before you brought it to the shop is what I meant.
Yeah, the unit was actually usable. We had just used it the weekend prior to that. But then obviously when we went to drop it off at the dealership, I was planning on just being there for the day and taking it home because the dealer is about 4 hours away. So I was waiting in the waiting room, for a few hours where they were trying to determine what was going on. And they came back and said it's basically a safety issue. You can't transport it any further, and it needs to be left here.
Wow.
Correct. It needs to be left. Yeah, I would have told you, and I tell anybody that's listening, when you have a problem as severe, such as a slide-out issue, a water leak, or a frame issue, or anything like this, the key on this is you've got to get it into the shop. And in your case, if it's a Jayco and you bought it in January, I'm pretty sure you have a 2-year warranty on that. Most manufacturers offer a 1-year warranty. So, I'm going to take this out of your scenario because it's a Jayco and you have 2 years. But imagine if this was a 1-year warranty. We're already in August and you bought this in January. Well, your warranty's almost up. And so once January rolls around, that a manufacturer with a 1-year warranty could literally just say, we're not working on it anymore, and, you've got a big problem then. So, and you've lost about 8 months, right, 9 months of warranty coming up right now, just waiting to get it in the shop and finally get it in there. So my advice to anybody out there with a severe problem is, even if the dealer tells you, we can't, you call in and they say, you got to wait 3 months. You don't have to wait 3 months. You haul that vehicle down to the dealer, drop it off, throw them the keys, and say, call me when it's ready. And
let me jump in here real quick, Rick, and ask you, because I saw, it sounds like Ken emailed you what he emailed me. Documentation seems to me to be a really critical component of trying to make a claim against a manufacturer. And Ken, I think, to me, it looks like you did an incredible job.
Very good. Yes. And the RVers are really good about that, because a lot of times RVers like to keep logs and they like to take pictures of their trips and so forth. So they're very meticulous in that sense. So my RV clients are very good about doing that. But, when you buy an RV, you're not thinking you're going to get involved in a lawsuit. And I don't want people to think that every time you buy an RV that it's going to immediately be a lemon and you're going to enter into a lawsuit. But the problem in this world is documentation is key. I mean, these cases live and die by documentation. If you don't have documentation, it's going to be very hard to prove an issue. So you need to photograph and video everything. And you need to document, have a logbook, and you need to document every phone call that you've made to the dealer, because that's probably where it starts. Then every phone call to the manufacturer. Just document everything. Just do a timeline. I request that from all my clients, when they come to me, is say, give me your timeline, give me your story.
All right, hang on, guys. We're going to have to jump for a break. Folks, what do you think? What would you do if your RV dream turned into an RV dream nightmare? And do you think these kind of stories are too negative to talk about and they sour people on the RV lifestyle? Or do you think it's about time that, somebody stands up and tells the other side of RVing? We want to hear what you think. 855-296-7469. Y'all hang on.
The RV Show USA. Start living the RV dream today.
All right, on the RV Show USA guest line, we have Rick Dalton, one of our favorite guests during this hour of the Angry RVer. Rick is a lawyer that fights every day for RV owners against unscrupulous RV dealers and manufacturers who are, some of them are putting out some bad RVs, and a couple who have what looks like have ended up with a real lemon. At least that's the way it looks to me. Rick, I know there's a lot more to the story than we have heard, but so far, what are your thoughts, and how unusual is this, what you're hearing from Ken about their new Jayco?
Well, I mean, it's an unusual case. I mean, it's not. I wouldn't say that it's common on that. And we want to be thankful that it's not common, and so forth. But Ralph Nader once said that 10% of the cars on the road are limits, and so but 90% of what you could buy out there is not a limit. So if we apply that to RVs, then Ken's just unlucky. He just bought one of the limits, and or a defective issue that just needs to be resolved, and hopefully Jayco, and or the dealer and or the frame manufacturer will step up to the plate and do what's right. It's in the early stages right now, from what I can see, and no decision has been made.
So what does somebody like Ken do? What does he hire Rick Dalton now, or does he wait and continue to document, cross his fingers and toes, and hope that Jayco owns up to it, or at least gets to the bottom of it to come up with a resolution? What does someone do in this situation?
In Ken's situation, because of the severity of the problem, he's going to need an attorney to get this resolved. I mean, unless Jayco listens to this radio show and decides to just come in and buy it back, which I would be surprised if that happens. But that's because of the severity of the problems, and like you saw the photographs and so forth. And I'm sure I'm not going to speak for Ken; he can speak for himself. But something like that, like you said during the break, who wants that unit? I mean, who wants it? Who would want to own it right now? It's got severe problems with it. He only owned it since January, so it's brand new, and that's the problem. Is that it's so new, and it needs a lot of work. A reasonable person in Ken's shoes most likely would not have bought that unit. I don't know who would have bought it, but that's the legal question that would need to be answered by a court. Is would a reasonable person in Ken's shoe buy that RV? Knowing about these defects.
Ken, let me ask Ken a question here. Ken, did you do a walkthrough? What happened when you took possession of the RV? Can you tell me about that? I mean, did any of these problems show up when they walked you through, or?
The minor issues didn't show up. I mean, the walkthrough wasn't the smoothest thing because the unit was actually ordered with what they call an orbiting pin box. But it didn't get built with it. And we did pull out the quality sheet, and obviously somebody signed off on it. So it just kind of shows that the level of care and quality going into the inspection is really not there. But none of these issues were apparent at the walkthrough, and they were things that, kind of occurred in a sequence through the first use up until, towing it again back to the dealership to have the warranty work done.
And y'all are not newbie RVers either, are you?
No, we've owned we've actually ordered 4 different RVs over the last 6 years, starting with pop-ups, the hybrid trailer, to a little bit bigger travel trailer, and then this is our first fifth wheel.
Rick, when does somebody know when to call you, when to get a lawyer involved? Because you don't work for free, and RVers are already out the expense of not being able to use their RV, the frustration, they're continuing to make payments and storage and insurance. When does somebody know when to call you?
Well, I encourage, before anybody calls me, that they, reach out to the dealer, which is where they bought the unit, and try to get answers there first. I mean, not every problem needs to jump in and hire a lawyer. But once you reach out to the dealer, and people know. I mean, you just know when you're getting the runaround, when you're not getting answers. You start watching the clock, and so when weeks start going by and weeks turn into months, and you're not, and they're saying we're going to call you tomorrow, or we're going to get an answer, or we're going to reach out to the manufacturer, or we're going to do this. You got to start watching the clock because there are statute of limitations on when you can file a lawsuit and claim. And we talked about some of that in the last session, where manufacturers are now shortening the period of time in which you can bring a claim. And they're doing that in the warranties, and most people who purchase these units are not aware of that. And, like I said, Forest Rivers has shortened their period to 90 days after the warranty ends. So you've got 1 year and 90 days to file suit according to Forest River. And so that's not a lot of time. I mean, let's apply that to, if that applied to Ken's case, I mean, he's got less than a year left to try to work it out with Jayco or go jump in and get a lawyer. And it's too short, in my opinion, because we want to encourage Ken to attempt to get the repairs done at the dealer level, and if not, have the manufacturer come in and try to do the repairs at the dealer level. Now, here's the key. Once the manufacturer comes in and says, as they have in Ken's case,
The RV Show USA. Start living the RV dream today.
All right, on our guest line is RV Lawyer Rick Dalton. He's with us along with a couple who have got a bad RV from the manufacturer Jayco, and now they're in RV hell. I guess that's pretty accurate, right, Ken?
Yeah, I guess I would sum it up just like that.
Hey, so how's the dealer treated you? Has the dealer been evasive? Has he been helpful? Tell us about that.
No, I think in this situation, the dealer has been able to facilitate where a lot of the delays have come. As Rick had indicated, you have a manufacturer and a subcomponent manufacturer, so they were submitting frame inspection documents and going between the sub-manufacturer and the manufacturer, and the dealer didn't really know what was going on.
Okay. Well, Rick, as you were talking, I had this idea, and I'm thinking, this is the skeptical side of me. I can't help it, but I'm going, you know what? What a great opportunity to string people along. If I wanted to be a bad dealer, if I wanted to be a bad manufacturer, rather, I could string people along, finger point, and essentially run out the clock on people. And then they're left at the end of the day with the booby prize of something that they're not going to get fixed and they're still making payments on. Do you see that happen?
all the time. That's my biggest concern for customers out there that are trying to do self-help at the end, is because they really need to get an attorney involved to get that claim filed to save that time. And it's just natural human nature. We don't want to be involved in a lawsuit. I don't want to be in a lawsuit personally myself. And it's that fear, and it's just trusting. Humans are naturally trusting of people and people you do business with. And you don't want to be a fool. You don't want to think that you were taken advantage of. I mean, you want to think that you're smarter than that. And a lot of times that just doesn't happen. You just trusted the wrong people.
Hey, Ken, do you have any questions? We're going to have to kind of wrap it up with you, and I want to visit a little bit with Rick before we have to let y'all both go. But do you have any questions for Rick right now?
Well, I think I've, at this point, I've tried to document everything very well. Now the unit is going to be hooked up to a fifth wheel and towed up to Indiana. How do I know how much damage occurs when it gets out there, and how do I accept it if they think they're going to fix it?
Yeah, Ken, I don't recommend that you do that. So you and I will need to talk about that before that happens.
Okay. Well,
yeah, they've actually they sent me an email today that basically said that they had hooked it up and it's on its way to the factory.
Okay. Well, we'll see what happens.
All right. Hey, listen, hang on. Rick, you hold on. Ken, Alicia, we're going to need to leave it there for today. I hope you guys got some decent input from Rick and that we can check on with you as you try to come to a good resolution with your RV, okay?
Okay, thank you so much.
You betcha. Best of luck. Rick,
I'll talk to you soon, Ken.
Rick, I want to know, if you were going to buy a new RV, how would you approach it? When you find the unit you like, tell us, because we've only got a few minutes left. We got a lot of people that are going to be buying new RVs. They do not want to be in a situation like Ken is in. What would you do?
Okay, so, well, first of all, we talked about this in the last session, was that you need to, ask questions, find out when the RV was delivered to the dealer, number one. If it's sat there, it's been on the dealer 6 months or more, there are maintenance requirements that need to be done to that unit by the dealer that they're required to do by the manufacturers. You need to find out if, in fact, they did that. You need to see the documentation, because they're required to maintain documentation showing that. So that's number one. From inspecting it, I mean, I see some people comment on, do I need to bring it and get an outside inspector? I mean, you can. The more expensive units, you might want to do that. If you start spending $200,000 or more on an RV unit, it may be worth spending $100 to have an individual inspector do it. That's not practical for somebody that's buying, a camper, it just isn't. So again, the law is there to protect you. So just do your due diligence. inspect it and so forth. If the defect is truly hidden, like it was in Ken's case, you're not going to find it upon inspection. That's because he's rolling down the highway when the frame breaks. I mean, you're not going to discover that immediately. You're not going to discover water leaks immediately unless, if they are, they should be open and obvious, and that's a red flag, and you shouldn't buy the unit. I mean, because you're going to see the water leaks. So what happens is these things are usually found out a couple of months after you purchase it because they were hidden, and that's when you discover them. So besides that, it's the paperwork. So you need to read everything before you sign it, and you need to ask questions. You need to look for arbitration agreements. Never agree to an arbitration agreement. You need to look at the warranties. You need to compare warranties to decide which manufacturer offers a better warranty, because that is key on this, because the first warranty you get is the manufacturer warranty, and that is the key. Everything you get after that is a service contract. It's not technically a warranty. It's just a service contract. It's an agreement between you and a third-party company that says that you pay for it, and you have to read that contract to determine what you're getting. But, like Jayco, even though Ken and them are having a problem, they offer one of the best warranties out there from a factory. It's a 2-year warranty, and they offer, I think, a 5-year warranty on structural and so forth. So, they offer a pretty good warranty as compared to other manufacturers out there.
In about a minute or so, from your perspective, what should the RV industry be doing to improve their quality? What should they be doing now, do you think, to help the consumer?
Again, I have my main complaint with the manufacturers right now is that them in their warranties right now. They are basically rewriting state law themselves and taking the rights away from the consumers. They are shortening the statute of limitations period in their warranties, and that's why we have legislatures. That's why we have laws to protect us and so forth. And so then the law allows you to contract. So by purchasing a Fourth River product and agreeing to their warranty that says you've only got 90 days at the expiration of their warranty to file suit, some courts are going to uphold that, and you just kind of messed yourself up by agreeing to that. And there's other statutes we can go after them on, but for breach of warranty, breach of express warranty, it creates a huge problem for me in the legal field.
It's good for the manufacturers, it sounds like, but not so much for the consumer. Yeah. Do you see that change? How would that ever change to the consumer's benefit to help them more? Or do you ever see that? I mean, do you see that happening?
Oh yeah, no, I see that extremely happening. I mean, you have to hit them where it hurts in their pocketbook. So if you don't buy a manufacturer that has taken upon themselves to shorten their warranty periods or statute limitation periods, then if they don't make money, then they may have to stand up and say, okay, we're going to have to do something to change to get customers to come back to us. So that's where you hit them.
All right, listen, I'm getting the signal. We got to wrap it up. Thank you, Rick Dalton, for being on the show. Thanks for what you do to help RVers like Ken and Alicia and so many others doing what you do, okay?
All right, thank you. Thanks for having me.
All right, we'll talk to you again soon. That was Mr. Rick Dalton, RV lawyer extraordinaire. All right, quick break. Be back. Close it out right after this.
The RV Show USA. Start living the RV dream today.
Hey everyone, I'm Miss Katie Warren, aka the graphics girl on the RV Show USA. Give us a like by clicking the thumbs up button down below, and if you want to see more videos like this in the future, click the subscribe button right here. I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye, everybody.